Make sure that the tech is working using Restream.io, I think it's called. And this is my first time trying to actually stream to a specific event instead of just going live on unplanned basis. So let me just make sure that's coming through. I'm going to check the watch page here. And it looks like we are online. Fantastic. Okay, cool. So hello, everybody. I'm going to check to see who's here right now. If you are in the chat, go ahead and let me get rid of this little window here. Go ahead and leave. Just say hello and put that in the chat so I can make sure you can see me and you can hear me. Looks like we got a couple people on already, which is great. A couple people watching. Very good. Hello, hello. So John here again from Income Mesh, and this is something that I'm starting to test around with giving kind of some live, more in-depth, impersonal tutorials and help, and just kind of building that community here with Income Mesh. Let me know if you guys can hear me and you can see me, and we will go ahead and get started here. All right, looking good so far. All right, so I think we're good to go. What I wanted to cover in this video here is a little bit about bots and the bot business, the concept of what messenger bots are and what they do for us as people, for us as businesses. Here, let me make sure I'm getting my screen, my screen here. One second. Okay, there we go. Took a little while there. All right, so let me start this one over again. So the whole point of this coaching here, this training is there's been a lot of buzz around messenger marketing as opposed to email marketing. And so myself, I have helped my wife grow her business using primarily email marketing, a bit of advertising, and then social media traffic to bring people to her ecosystem, her world, and eventually to offer her products and services. But there is way more ways of reaching audiences than simply those traditional means. And messenger marketing is one of those alternatives, which is really starting to pick up some steam. And so I wanted to just do a very brief little introduction and see what interest there is in this world of messenger marketing, to see what, if you guys are looking at implementing something like this in your business or would maybe want to do this as a service to others. There's a lot of growth and a lot of opportunity with the world of messenger marketing, and we'll dive into it right now. So in a nutshell, like you say, oh, I need a bot. Well, what is a bot? What is a messenger bot? What is the purpose? What are the different applications you can do with them? Well, it's a lot basically. Like messenger bots can be your automated customer service. They can do lead qualification. So if you're an online business and really having one person come through your doors or having a million people coming through your doors, that doesn't really impact your workload that much. You might not need as much lead qualification. But if you're a real estate agent or a dentist or a coach and consultant where your time is hugely limited, spending all your time vetting out your potential leads or your prospects, that can negatively impact your business. So having some automated form of lead qualification makes a lot of sense and can make you more efficient as a business owner. And to the next stage, let's say you qualify a lead, actually getting them to sign up to talk to you at the right time, and you guys can be together and not have to play the phone tag game. Trust me, I am an introvert and I do not like playing the scheduling game. I don't care who it is. If they want to talk to me, I want to talk to them too. I like making human connection, but I don't want to go through and look at the calendar and try to, oh, what week are you in? No, automated scheduling services are fantastic. And also they can essentially automate the entire sales funnel. And what I mean by sales funnel is that know, like, and trust factor that takes somebody from not knowing about you, having never seen you before, and then walking through this process of getting to know you, getting to like you, build some rapport, some trust. And then eventually, once all of those have been accomplished very well, and you've introduced what you do and how you can help that person, purchasing is the only logical next step because of that know, like, and trust factor. You get the idea. So messenger bots can do essentially every part of the funnel, and they can do it in a very unique way that it's not gimmicky. Like some people say, oh, messenger marketing is just gimmicky, is going to go away. Not necessarily. Every form of communication has gone the way of being a little bit more efficient, a little bit more instantaneous. From sending snail mail through the Pony Express all the way through, faxing and phone calls and emails, and everything has been moving more towards that instantaneous messaging process. And Messenger bots is the next evolution of that. And it's got a long way to really see where it's going to fit into the world. But already we can see that anything that comes in business happens through conversation. I mean, in the beginning of time, it was two people meeting up at a market, discussing price, discussing what they can do, bartering their sheep for your goats so you can make sure that you each have what you need. It all happens through conversation. And so the ability to automate those conversations has a few benefits we're going to talk about here. So just kind of quick little sound check here. Is my audio clean and clear? Can you guys hear and see me okay? Just give me a heads up here in the chat. And let me just check over here. Okay. It's looking good. All right. So the beauty in messenger marketing is, and messenger bots in general, is flexibility and engagement. And this platform gives us a unique level of flexibility in our marketing process and engagement with our audience. So let's talk about each one of those individually. So on the flexibility side, why are bots more flexible than other traditional forms? Well, leads can move at their own pace through your funnel. If you're used to the classic kind of drip email sequence, email marketing, we're used to that, whole process of sign up here on this form and then wait a day, and then you'll get your first email, and hopefully you open that email amongst the 500 other emails you have to open that day. And if you open it, hopefully you read it. Whether you do or not, I'm going to send you another email tomorrow, and you're going to walk them through this process, this very static process. Yes, I mean, you can do different unique things with email marketing, but most people don't. Let's just be honest. Whereas on messenger marketing, and when you're sending people through a bot sequence, it's much more of that choose your own adventure process where they get to decide how they respond. And as they're responding, it's not like they have to hit reply and then do all this crazy stuff in email, and you need to go and see what their email reply was. And then, no, it's this automated, very fluid, conversational way of letting them choose their own adventure through your process. And often you can do everything you need directly in that single conversation. So let's say you work in a business where you want to bring leads in, you want to learn about them, learn about the size of their business, the revenue they're doing, and ultimately figure out if they want to schedule a call with you. Well, in the past, you'd have to send them over to some survey tool, and then you'd have to go from the survey tool over to a scheduling tool, or then have them sign up for an email marketing newsletter as well. You're bouncing people around to different places in the entire process, and that can slow down. First of all, it can slow down the entire process, which doesn't make your clients very happy. Secondly, it's going to hurt your conversion rates because anytime you have to make them switch from task A to task B, you're going to have some people fall out because it's just too much work for them. In conversations, especially if you build them with engaging language, it allows you to kind of really have a fun and engaging process. It's going to help increase your conversions. And now that kind of leads perfectly into the engagement piece, which we talked about here. And 88%. So that is the number, according to Neil Patel. I was doing some research to kind of figure out where the industry is going. And he is quoting that in a lot of his marketing campaigns, he's getting an 88% open rate on his marketing messages sent through Messenger. That's huge. That's huge. That's about 4 times as large as what you were getting from email. So 20% is a pretty average industry average, depending on the industry you're in, obviously, but a pretty good average of the open rates within email. So to get anywhere close to 88%, yes, Neil Patel is a great marketer, so I'm sure there's some skill to get up to that level, but also he's probably trying to sell something. I didn't read too deep into it to see what it was he was trying to offer there. But anything that increases the open rates increases the ability for you to engage with your audience, which is a good thing. And not only is the open rate better, but the click-through rate is amazing. So 56% click-through rates, again, quoted from Neil Patel in the study he did. Hey, Jacques, good to see you on, man. I appreciate it. So all those two numbers do is, tell you that messenger marketing is something that really should not be and can't be fully ignored. Where it's going to go in the future, I'm sure we'll have to be fluid as marketers, as people trying to run and grow businesses. We'll need to see where it goes and roll with it because it's going to change. Facebook is notorious for changing their policies and changing their procedures. And right now, Facebook Messenger bots is the most popular avenue of implementing messenger marketing. So let me clarify that statement real fast. So you don't have to use Facebook Messenger. You can use Intercom has their own built-in platform. Drift has their own built-in platform. All these, a bot is basically just the ability for you to run a conversation with another person without the need of two people on both sides. It could be a person talking to a computer. That can be through Facebook, that can be through other platforms. But Facebook is the juggernaut. That's where everybody is doing their business right now. And so we do need to make sure that we keep that in mind as we're building out our processes and our procedures. So going back to the email and the open rates here, email open rates are around 20%. And when you ask most people, when they're going into their email inbox, they're going to be sifting through a bunch of promotional material, stuff that they might not be interested in, and hoping to get one or two things that's important to them out of their email inbox. Whereas in Messenger, when you go to Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or whichever platform you're using, WhatsApp and Twilio and things like that, you're going in there to expect to connect with your loved ones, to have meaningful conversations, and right now, there's definitely that first mover's advantage where not everybody is using messenger marketing for marketing purposes, or they're not using Messenger for marketing purposes, I should say. And so we kind of can catch a lot of our potential customers with their guard down by using Messenger. It sounds sneaky, but honestly, like if you have something that's good to sell people, it's your job to sell it. And you need to go to where people are willing to engage with you. Right now, Messenger is that platform. Yeah, Susie, come on in.
Thank you. I'm behind the curtain. I can't get in.
Come on in behind the curtain.
I can't get in. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. That's the wifey coming in. She needed her coffee. Where's my coffee?
Sorry.
Goodness gracious. All right, so before we get into the actual tactical tutorial and building this thing out step by step, what are the different bot platforms out there? Unfortunately, or fortunately, the list is long and it's ever growing. So we're going to use one of these on the list, but I want to just give you a quick little overview, kind of like a sampler platter of what is out there. And so let's just go through this big list. So there's ManyChat, Chatfuel, Flow. I don't even know some of these platforms. FlowXO, ActiveChat.ai, which, this is the platform that I will be using. And I'll explain why after I go through this big old list. MobileMonkey, Leadformly, Botsify, Chatteron, SQL, Pandora bots. It goes on and on. And I think that's it. Okay, so I'm using ActiveChat AI for a few reasons. All of these platforms can connect with different services. Some can connect in with Facebook Messenger, some can connect in with WhatsApp and their own platforms, et cetera, et cetera. But what they don't all do, and what I want to be able to offer and what I want to be able to embrace, is the ability for my bots to sell for me directly. And so ActiveChat is one, and there are others here that integrate with e-commerce platforms, but this has a very tight integration with WooCommerce and Shopify. So if you have an online store, imagine if when somebody lands on your online store, a little chat bubble pops up and says, hey, would you like some help shopping? Because that's what happens, right? You're walking through Target and you're just looking, if it's like a good Target at least, and you're like looking through different things, and then somebody walks up to you and asks, hey, can I help you make your decision? And then you have a conversation, right? And then finally you get exactly what you want. ActiveChat AI is building out the ability for that entire workflow to happen automatically on your website, which is super exciting. The other reason is it was a lifetime deal, which I'm very grateful that I got, but their pricing is very competitive with the others. If you didn't get the lifetime deal, it's still a great platform. It's got a ways to go. Like, it's not the most polished platform. As we will show you as we walk through here, there are some things with all of these platforms that are that need to be improved. That's the beauty of the market we're in. It's still in very much a growth phase, so you have to be a little patient and just kind of learn it out. But that's why we're doing this here live, to kind of show you what the real world is like, okay? So the building goal for this workshop, what I want to build out here is I want to build a little website. I built the website before this call just to kind of have something ready to go, and allow a little chat bubble, that little engaging chat bubble there. I want that to be there on the website, and when somebody clicks on that chat bubble, I'm going to give them a happy little greeting, say, hello, how are you doing? What can I help you with? And I want to offer them a menu. Basically a few different buttons, because and we'll explain this as we're going through. You don't want to open up so much open door communication. You don't want to give them, say, hey, how can I help you? And let them type type whatever they want to in the chat bubble because you can't code in all the different responses people are going to say. So we'll give them a few different options for what they can select. And then based on what they select, I want to give them some custom conversations and route them through so you can kind of get an idea for how this can be used for local businesses. I've done this for a few local businesses already. The reason why I'm doing this little workshop here is because I really enjoy doing it. It was really fun for me to help out some local businesses automate some of the administrative work. Hey, how can I find you guys? How can I get to your maps? And there's a lot of benefits in doing this through messenger marketing. Okay, so that's it. If there's any questions, I'm going to go through the comments here real fast before we dive into it. If you guys want to cover anything in particular, or if you have a question that's not related to messenger bots, please just put that in the chat window on the screen there. And as I take a break or get a water break, I'll read through the messages and we can bounce through that, because I want to make sure that I make myself available for you guys, not only for this specific topic, but kind of whatever else is going on with your websites or your online businesses. Okay. So with that said, let's dive out of the PowerPoint and get into the website. So I built this site real fast, just a template. And I figured because we're talking about some advanced marketing tactics, we'll use this kind of growth marketer here where he's the man behind the machine. And so when you have your websites, what is some of the downsides of this website right here? Well, it's beautiful. Like, it's got a great layout. It's very engaging, but it's very static. And if you have a question, you're often sent in the searching mode of like, how do I get this question answered appropriately? Let me close this down. Okay. How do I get this question answered the right way? You might look around to his about page and say, okay, is there something on here with how I can actually contact this guy and get my questions answered? Right, wrong, or indifferent, we are very, very impatient people. We want the answer to happen right now. And even if we go to this Hire Me page, which is clearly like his contact page, you put in your name in, your email address, your subject, and you send him a message. What's going to happen? You're going to wait for 8, 16, 24 hours before you even get a call back. You might have already moved on to somebody else who was able to get back with you faster, and potentially you could have lost some business or simply just not have the response you wanted in the time you want it, which is going to hurt your conversion rate when it does come down to the actual time of making a hiring decision. Okay, so what we're going to do to alleviate that problem is no matter what web page we're on, I want to give the user the automatic opportunity to open a conversation, to engage with the business owner, and ultimately make a sale or sign up for a coaching call, something like that. Okay, so to do that, like I mentioned before, I am a big fan of ActiveChat. Like everything else, there's no perfect platform out there, but ActiveChat is doing a lot of different things. And as you can see here, each one of these different line items is a different bot that I've either built in experimentation or I've built for a business, and it's really, really fun. So what I want to do is give you a brief tour of building a bot from scratch. If you go to a different platform, it's going to look differently, obviously, but the thought process of building out conversation is called conversational design. That tends to be pretty standard across the platforms, right? So what we can do here is we're going to build a new bot. Hey there, Gia. Good to see you. And within ActiveChat, there are several templates you can start with. We're going to start from scratch, but I'll just show you that there are different templates here. NLP is a really cool one. We won't get into it. It's way too advanced for this topic here. But if you want to do lead generation, or if you're a restaurant, let me just show you one of these bots here. I think the restaurant would be a good example. And when you see this built out, it's going to look a little bit intimidating. So let's go ahead and show you here. So just scrolling out, this looks like a big old whiteboard from some crazy scientist when he's going through and trying to figure out astrophysics. But what's happening here is each one of these different tabs, kind of like Chrome tabs up top, each one of these different tabs are individual conversations that you can engage with your audience. Whenever somebody starts the conversation with you, you have an initial kind of greeting. It's like your elevator pitch, right? Like when you're meeting somebody, you kind of always say the same thing. Hey, how's it going? I'm John. I do digital marketing. What's your favorite football team? Like that's kind of like your starting conversation. And bots are the same way, where there's a starting skill where they'll be able to go through and eventually give them some options or let them kind of go where they want to go, that choose your own adventure. And then once they've chosen their adventure, it goes off to the different areas here. but this is way too much right now. So we're going to go ahead and build one from scratch to kind of walk through that process together. So we'll create a new one. And we'll build from scratch here. And we'll call this bot demo. All right, build our bot demo, very original there. And let's pick a little image. Let's just do this guy. This is up in, I think it was Tennessee. Beautiful little outlook there. So I'll find a picture to kind of give my bot a personality, and welcome to your first bot. Okay, so once you've saved it, it's going to come over here, and like I had mentioned before, messenger marketing doesn't necessarily mean Facebook messenger marketing. You can build out bots that are independent from any social media platform, but in the current day and age, it still makes the most sense, in my opinion, to connect it to Messenger, Facebook Messenger. And the big reason for that is, like the goal of any online business is to build your email list so you have that customer base that you can talk to and build a relationship with. You can do the exact same thing with your Facebook Messenger list. And so these are people that are opting in to allow you to talk to them, and you can send messages just like you would send your email broadcast through Messenger. So we are going to connect this to a Facebook page. I built a little local business demo page here before the call. And so all you have to do is connect that in, and now the connection is made, and we'll be able to test this as we're going through. And you guys as well, if you want to kind of see how it works as we're building, you can go to bots.jwhitford.com, and I should be able to put this in the chat here. So you should be able to test. I'm putting that through in the chat. You should see that shortly, and we'll be able to do this together here. So I've connected it in. Now we need to start building out some conversations. So when I go to this flow builder, this is their visual automations. If you're used to email marketing platforms, this will look a little bit familiar, at least, because you kind of get that visual feel of how the automation is going to flow from start to finish, and you're literally just connecting the dots as you're going through. So what I said I wanted to do, if we go back to our little overview here, is we want to engage them on the website with a happy greeting. So let's give a little happy greeting here. In our start skill, this is where that initial interaction is going to take place. So we'll come here to the text box and say, hi there, first name. So kind of an important thing here, you never have to ask for their name. And if you're familiar with email marketing, oftentimes if they're signing up with their first name and their email, they might put a rubbish name into their name field. And then if you use personalization in your email marketing later on, you might say, hey, hi, first name. But to them it says, hi, ASDF, or blah, 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 or whatever they put into that field. It makes me not want to use personalization in my actual email marketing, because I know people could put spammy names in there, and then that just kills the relationship you're building as you're writing your emails. Here, on the other hand, because it's tied into Facebook, it's creepy. It knows all the details about you. And so it'll know your first name as soon as you hit that get started button to engage in that conversation. So we'll say, hi there, first name. And let me just give it a brief little introduction. Would you like to learn more about messenger marketing? All right, and then within every text box, you have the ability to add buttons or links to go to special web pages or many other things. But what we are going to do here is actually just create a persistent menu, and we'll show you what that means in a second. So we're going to remove this button here. And let's just do a quick test already, just to make sure that everything is connected and working. So the agent has been built, is what it says here. That means that we're good to go. And now I'm going to go over to this test here chatbot, and I'll click over to Facebook, just so you can see we already have something that's up and working. All right, so on the Facebook page, I gave it a little funny dog picture because I like dogs. And we'll say get started. And already we have that initial message that's coming in from the bot, which is what we just said. So we have a pretty good feel that we're going to be working correctly here. Things are going to be doing what we want it to do. Okay, so now we have our first start skill. Before I go too far, I want to go ahead and achieve that goal of getting them to engage on the website. So what I want to do already is connect this and tie this in to the website that I had already built. And ActiveChat has done us a good service by creating a very simple plugin, and I'm really happy with how they did this. I'm actually going to hide my face because the plugin is going to interact with the bottom right corner of the screen there. So we'll come here to plugins, add new. And I'm going to go and just search for active chat. What are you guys thinking so far? Is this does this seem super complicated, or does this seem pretty simple so far? Leave me some feedback in the chat box there. Okay, so we got active chat, chatbots, and live chat. We're going to install this free plugin. Obviously, active chat is premium, but this plugin is free. Okay, so now we have that connected. All we have to do is go to the plugin, which now shows up underneath your settings, and get your bot ID. And the bot ID is going to be over here when you're back in your building. We're going to go to the settings in general. They are overhauling the user interface shortly, so this video will be outdated at some point. But right now, you'll just come here, copy that bot ID, and paste it in. Okay. And now what's cool about this is you can select how you want to engage with this bot. Do you want to use the Facebook widget or the active chat widget? So if you want it to be connected to that Facebook page, you can toggle on this guy here. Otherwise, if you want to just have it where they're talking on your website and not actually linking into your Facebook profile, then you could do that. And depending on the industry you're in, if you're like a legal counsel and you don't want to have much of a presence on Facebook or whatever, I don't know if that's even a good example, but if you don't believe in Facebook or you don't want your audience to have to be on Facebook, then using that already built-in widget could be useful. Okay, now that we've done that and we've connected it, we should be able to simply go to our home page. And let me clear our cache. Hey, Jorge. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. Let's go back in, and it might have required me to paste it in again. We'll come back in here. This is one of those things you do it once. Okay, I needed to paste it in one more time. Let me get that. Paste here, paste it in, update it. Okay, should be good to go. Let's just view it one more time. Okay, there we go. Great. So now we have our local business demo, and when we engage with it, it's going to have our start message here. So now, if you guys want to, you can go and double check that this is working correctly. I'm not going to mark it to you guys. I'm going to delete this bot as soon as this demo is over. But if you want to go and just kind of see what it looks like, you can head over to bots.jwhitford.com, and we can kind of follow along as we add more skills to this bot. We'll be able to see kind of how it works out. Okay, so now we can come back to our flow builder. And I'm going to bring my little face back. And we can come back in here to... Actually, while we're here, let's go to that chat widget. And we have the Facebook Messenger. We're going to select this guy. And I believe that's going to give us some options here. So if you noticed, when I was... Let me go to an incognito window. Bots.jwhitford.com. Get rid of that. When I joined here, it kind of gave me a very generic welcome message. Come on, pop up. It's probably in the middle of being configured. But you can select the greeting text and the color. So if I want my color to be that orange that's on the website, I can pick an orange here. And I can also put in a custom greeting message that's going to have that little pop-up there. So we can say, to talk about bots. And you can customize the welcome message for if they're logged in or if they're not logged into Facebook. And also if you want to have that thing pop up immediately or have it pop up and fade away, we can do that as well. And let's just say it's going to have a 2-second delay. So we'll save these changes. And we can check that later on, but let's go ahead and build out the conversation. So we'll come back into our bot demo. All right, here we are. And let me just double check. So we've kind of checked the box on engaging on the website. We've checked the box on having an initial happy greeting there. Now the next thing is let's actually build out this menu system, which I think is the best way to go, especially for local businesses where you always have kind of a hub, a place where people come back to, this kind of central dashboard that they can be useful to. It's kind of like your navigation bar on the header of your website, but when you're in a conversation, if you don't know what, like, we need some guidance on how to work with this bot correctly. So having a nice little persistent menu, I think, is the way to do it. So to do that, and this is how fun it is to build bots. This is why I do this so often. You just drag from the bottom of one skill, and you can build out this conversation. So now I want to go ahead and I want to create kind of a row of buttons. And to do that, I'm going to add a listen block. And just to give you guys an idea, there's so much you can do here. You can add text, images, galleries, email, send text messages, send emails, request files. Like, there needs to be a full course on this platform alone, which I would love to do at some point. It has direct integration with Google Sheets. There's so much to do here. We're going to just walk through some very, very basics, but ultimately, like, it's unlimited. Especially when you get down here, you can actually have add to cart buttons where people can say, hey, browse my WooCommerce store, and whatever you see you like, go ahead and click this button, put in your payment information, boom, and then you can buy stuff directly here from a conversation window. It's a little crazy. Okay, so here we go. We're going to create this conversation where it's, hi there, would you like to learn more about messenger marketing? And let's give them 3 different conversations to do here. So we'll kind of call this any place you see save to. You can create variables, not to get too geeky, but if you ever want to recall what their selection was, like say, for example, you ask them what type of dog they have, and they say, hey, I have a golden retriever, you can then say the word golden retriever in your reply back and kind of save that information. So we can kind of see what they're interested in, but we'll say menu select. Menu selection is going to be the variable here, and we're going to give them a few different options. So we'll say location, we'll say services, and you can see here, I'm just selecting some text replies, but you can select a location where they can send their location to you. I'm not going to do that. They can put in an email address or have like a click to call. So because this is all built to be mobile friendly, it's great. So for being able to say, hey, give me a call right now, and then we can get you on the books. And you can put in a call button here, and it's going to directly call where they need to go. It works great for mobile. And then so location, services, and contact. Okay, so we'll have these 3 different buttons. And now what I also want to do is create kind of like a hook where wherever I'm at in this conversation, let's say that we go down a long trail of conversations talking about the different services you offer. When they're done with that conversation, I want to be able to send them right back to this this little conversation here, so they can rinse and repeat and go through again. And so what we can do, which is kind of cool about this, is you can send in what's called a catch. And a catch is something where basically wherever I'm at in this entire conversation, I can say, hey, go back to the introduction, or we're going to call this persistent menu with an underscore there. And so what that means is that whenever I say go to the persistent menu, it's going to come right back here to this part of the conversation, no matter where we're at. And let me know if I'm getting too advanced here, or if you're tracking well. Let me know in the comments there below. So what we can do here now is we've got these 3 different services, and we come back to our goal here. What we can do is send them to individual conversations when they ask for services, or send them to individual conversations when they want to do a contact. So, and that is kind of the exact same way we've done so far. If they click on this location button, I'm going to drag this over, and I'm going to say, send them to a new skill. Now, to me, the word skill and conversation are kind of the same when it comes to messenger bots. So I'll say, all right, I'm going to create a new conversation, and I'll call this location. And I'll save it. And now, boom, it looks like I just lost all my work. I didn't. I just created a new tab up here where we were in the start skill. And then there's these other skills we can talk about later. And then I sent over to this new tab, this new conversation called location. And I like the way that ActiveChat does this because it allows you to keep your workspace clean and to kind of break up your conversation, your entire marketing journey, into these very small, specific skills that it just allows you to see the big picture. You can kind of see where things connect. So now, for example, if they click on that location button, it's going to go to the location skill. So I just come over here. Okay, location. And we won't do too much here, but we'll do a couple things. Let's do awesome. Let me tell you my locations. All right, so we'll do a quick little kind of confirmation that you're in the right place by kind of repeating what they have. And let's also put an image here, because one of the things that I think is so cool about messenger marketing as opposed to email is it's just a light and airy way of talking to people. Like you don't have to be too serious or too crazy about how you market. People expect to be kind of entertained when they're going through that. So it's just a little video from a previous YouTube video. My overly happy face. So I'll put that in, and let me also do let's do one more text. You can find us at the location below. And we'll also give it the address. So let's say, let's find an address first. Thinking through the best way I want to do this. Yeah, I know what I want to do. So I want to create the ability for them to navigate directly to my location, the business's location, when they answer. So we'll call this a map, and we'll say 100 New York Avenue, New York. Let's see if that works. And that will work. So I'll run this skill here. And so now what I should be able to do is, let me just kind of navigate around on the website real fast here and make sure that the bot is showing up where it should. Let me come in here real fast and just adjust my permalink settings. This is something that you just do when you first make your website and you never think about it again, but it can cause some issues if you don't do it in the beginning. Okay. Where are you, buddy? Let me know, when you guys go to bots.jwhitford.com, is the messenger chat showing up for you guys? Mine appears to be coming in and out, and this has happened in the past. I'm going to come here. Oh, wrong website. Let me come in here. Looks like we're on. I'm going to just test around and move this over to the actual widget, not Facebook, and see what we get. What's kind of cool is you should be able to just toggle between which chat widget you want to use. And perfect, here you go. So this is another example of using non-Facebook Messenger. So now I can click here, and you can see it's got its own user interface as well. And you'll notice, because I'm not using Facebook, it calls my first name undefined because it doesn't know my first name. But this is still really nice, a really good interface. So now when I click on location, it's going to reply back. And you can see how that conversation can just start to flow. Okay, so that's kind of how that works there. Let's go back in and just create a very simple conversation with a different skill. So services, we're going to send this to a new skill, and I want to show you the gallery on this one. So underneath services, we're going to send a quick little message, and we'll call this great. Here is a list of my services. Just tell them what we're going to show them. And then under here, we're going to add in a gallery block here. Let's assume they have two different services. So we can add a couple different galleries here. And a gallery is one of those swipeable things where they can select what they want from the list. And we'll call this first one consultation. Learn about my consulting services. And this next one can be done for you. Let's do the project together. Okay, so I filled that in. I can give it a picture as well. Let me just add some pictures for, let's see, let's find just a little simple picture there. And then let's add a picture in here. Let's go to my images and let's do some thumbnails. Okay, so that'll work. Old thumbnail there. Okay, so now we've got a couple different buttons here. All right, so let's do some consulting, and then underneath each one of these buttons, if they select it, you'll have a couple different options as well. So we'll just have a button and we'll say, let's work together. And then here as well, done for you services, and we'll just say select to give you the idea. And again, like everything kind of works the same way. So if they select, let's work together, you can send them out to another skill, and we'll just say consulting selected. And over here, same way, we can say done for you selected. It'd probably make a good idea to also send these off to their own specific skills so you can get even more in depth and in detail with how this works. What we're also going to do is, let's say they don't want to select either of these and they want to be able to go back to that main menu that we created earlier. We can come down here, and what this means is as soon as this gallery is displayed, it's also going to work its way down and go through this bottom branch here that we'll be able to send to a specific skill. And so here we're going to send over to what we call persistent. What do we call it? I think it's persistent menu. And then what that will do, because if you remember earlier on the start skill, we created this persistent menu over here. And so it should send us right back and say, basically allow us to loop around and create that entire flow in our conversation. So let's do that together. So agent has been built. I'll just come here to test the chatbot. So it gives us our welcome message. Would you like to learn more? Let's go to that services area. Great. Here's a list of my services. You've got the gallery that you can kind of take a look at. And this looks kind of weird being so huge, but you imagine it's going to be in that small bubble on the website here. So if we say, well, first let's notice, so as soon as it showed that gallery, it's also looping us back around to that list of services. So you always have a very easy workflow for your users as they're chatting with you. So if they say, let's work together, see, consultation selected, or if they say done for you services, done for you selected as well. All right, so that's kind of how the basics of how all this works. What do you guys think so far? Is this interesting? Do you guys see how this could be useful? Because some of the applications we haven't really talked about here yet is you can have your own drip sequence. Let's say you have a 5-part email autoresponder that you want to see if you can get to improve a little bit. Well, you could test doing the exact same value. You're giving the same value, but give it through Messenger. You might see your open rates increase. You might see your click-through rates increase. And you could honestly move towards the sale faster. If they are ready to go to day 2, they can click a button and go directly into that next skill. And so you can build out these very nice and logical conversations using Messenger. A couple other things we could talk about is, what if they're typing back and it's not a skill that you have here? There are ways for you to set up automatic replies where it can look for things that people are saying. You can kind of get the intent of what they're trying to do. If they ask a question, if they use the word question in what they type into the box, then you can have a specific response back when they do those keywords and things like that. So it's kind of a quick little overview of how this works. It looks like we've been on for about 45 minutes, which is kind of what my target was. So I'm curious. I'm going to take a drink of water. But if you guys have any thoughts or any questions, I've got 10 people watching right now, which is fantastic. If you have ever thought about doing messenger marketing, does this little demonstration of showing you how you can get one built and working, does this make you feel good about it, like empowered that you can do this? Or does it make it seem even crazier or more complex? I'm curious. Leave a comment in the chat box, and I'd love to hear it. And while you're doing that, I'm going to kind of test it here on the site as well. I'm going to move my little face over to this side, and I should be able to have this conversation too. So you see if I type in just hello, it's going to give me a reply. And this is customizable where I can look for things in this conversation as well. And go to services. So pretty fun, pretty cool. I think that is what I wanted to share with you guys today. If you have any other questions, I'm just going to scroll through the chat. And quiet audience today, which is totally fine. So if you enjoyed this and you want to kind of be part of these ongoing, you can head over to incomemesh.com and sign up to my newsletter list. Before I go live, I do give a couple reminders about the topics. And if you have any ideas for the next topic, feel free to email me, john@incomemesh.com. Or when you sign up, I'll ask you for that as well. And I'd love to help you kind of grow your business in whichever area you're working on right now. All right, that's it for me. Got the landscaping guys outside. That's going to give us a lot of background noise. So I'll sign off. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.